It's time now for the Success is Subjective podcast. Here is your host and therapeutic consultant for young adults only, Joanna Lilly.
Hi, and welcome to the show. If you're new here, I'm glad to have you. This podcast was formed to collectively build a bank of stories from normal people sharing their non-linear paths. Unfortunately, social media paints a narrow picture of what success looks like, so I'm doing my best to spread the news that changing course is common, and you don't have to know what you want to do the rest of your life at 18. If you're a parent worried about your young adult and whether their path is leading them to success, you're in the right place. I'm a therapeutic consultant who works with young adults to connect them with resources that'll help them get back on that path to success. So if you're curious, let's chat. You can schedule a free consultation through my website. Today, my guest is Jon Paul Crimi. Jon Paul is a captivating keynote speaker who I actually just got to see not long ago at a conference in San Diego, who evokes both laughter and tears, leaving a lasting impression. He is also a renowned trailblazer in the field of breathwork, whose dear and late friend Matthew Perry encouraged him from the beginning. Jon Paul's unique approach has taken the ancient technique and given it a fresh, accessible, and modern twist. Jon Paul stands apart with his relatable and no-nonsense East Coast sensibility, making this profoundly transformational practice accessible to people from all walks of life. With over a decade of experience, Jon Paul began his practice in the heart of Los Angeles, working with a multitude of A-list celebrities, including Oscar and Grammy winners, Olympic gold medalists, and top studio execs, before shifting his focus towards making breathwork accessible to the masses. He has hosted and facilitated workshops, corporate retreats, and teacher training certifications, benefiting both individuals and groups on their journey of self-discovery and healing. Jon Paul was ahead of his time in pioneering group classes, courses, and teacher training certifications online, despite facing initial criticism from some traditionalists within the breathwork community. This forward-thinking move proved to be a stroke of genius when the world was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, allowing him to reach hundreds of thousands of people globally when they needed it the most. Jon Paul's transformative journey towards personal growth and sobriety, alongside his impactful work assisting celebrities and countless others, was prominently showcased on the front page of Huffington Post. His expertise extends to being a featured teacher in the Heal Hay House Summit, inspired by the acclaimed Netflix documentary. His insights and transformative approach have earned him recognition in influential publications such as The Hollywood Reporter and LA Magazine. He's also graced the screens of Good Morning America and has shared his wisdom on numerous podcasts, including The Brooke Burke Show. I'm certainly grateful that he took the time to be a guest on Success is Subjective, because there is no doubt that his story is a perfect example of how life is definitely not linear. Let's not wait any longer. Here's Jon Paul. All right. Jon Paul, thanks for being a guest on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talk to you today.
I think I'm probably more excited. I'm just going to put that out there because I just watched you as a keynote at a conference and I was so excited. And we were just kind of talking about this offline. You have a way with words, which makes you very entertaining, but also your story is awesome. So I'm excited to have you as a guest. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so what I ask most of my guests just right out of the gate is like, where did you grow up? And then what was the messaging that you were getting about what you were supposed to be doing after high school? Because I think really like how we're raised, that nurturing, what family is telling us that we need to be doing that defines success, and also culturally where we're raised kind of paints the picture of the path that we're supposed to be on. But that also just kind of gives a little bit of an opportunity for folks to know kind of regionally, where did you grow up?
I grew up on the south shore of Boston, Massachusetts, in a little town called Pembroke. And it's the 5th most Irish town in America, surrounded by the 13 most Irish towns in America. They call it the Irish Riviera. And so it was really it was suburbia, but it felt like it felt like the city a little bit. Someone would steal your bike or you get in fights all the time because there was a lot of people moving there from South Boston, which is where you see the movies about, like Good Will Hunting and The Town and all those kind of movies. So there was a lot of inner city sort of mentality in suburbia. And I'm Irish, Italian, and Scottish, which means I like to drink a lot. I don't want to pay for it. And then I want to start a fight. And I actually didn't like to fight growing up, but I didn't have much of a choice. It's just survival where I grew up. You have to learn how to fight. And so, yeah, it was kind of a tough upbringing in a nice area. It was really weird. It's a hockey town. A lot of hockey players came out of there too, because they have cranberry bogs where I grew up, and they flood them in October to float all the cranberries. And then they turn into basically hockey rinks all over town. So everybody was a hockey player except for me. And, it was an interesting place to grow up. I never felt like I fit in there. Everyone was really sports oriented towards, hockey and the Bruins and the Red Sox and all these sports teams. And I didn't feel like that resonated with me. I really liked music and I liked movies and those kind of things. So I felt different then. And the messaging I heard growing up was probably like, you're too sensitive. There's something wrong with you. Right? Like, if I complained about something or I said something bothered me, I heard, oh, you're too sensitive. So it's like, oh, it's my fault. There's something wrong with me. And so I spent a lot of my childhood really trying to learn how to squash down feelings and not feel things, which is impossible. Right. So finding ways to numb myself out was the key. And there's a lot of different ways to do that.
Well, and that feels, correct me if I'm off base, because I did not grow up south of Boston. And so I just feel like when you're in parts of New England, like pockets like that, culturally, the idea of having emotional intelligence, especially even 10, 15, 20 years ago, was like, no, lock that shit up real quick.
Yeah. You have the conservative New England upbringing. Everyone's conservative. You don't talk about your feelings. You don't show your feelings. And then you have the Irish, you have the Irish Italian where you just, you lock that shit away. So it was like, push it down. My joke is like, if I had a feeling, I'd push it down, do a shot and punch somebody in the face and the feeling would go away. And so, yeah, just didn't allow for that. And then, it's like, ironically, when I moved to California and I was trying to be an actor, I was trying to tap into those feelings. And I had spent so long like pushing them down that now I'm trying to tap into them. And it was like, oh, this is the opposite. And it was really hard. It was really hard for me to release those feelings.
Well, This is a good segue, right? So we started in Massachusetts. Now you alluded to moving to Hollywood to act. So fill us in kind of on your emerging adult years, kind of what the experiences you had leading to, really we're painting the picture of this path, right? Like, here's where I was raised. Here's kind of some of the information that I was shared or given, or it was implied. And then life takes you in different directions, whether or not you're driving it or you're kind of in the passenger seat. And so I'm just kind of curious if you could share with us where the journey took you. Like, how did you even get out to California? Let me ask that question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I was working at a gym in Quincy, Massachusetts, and it was, it's a really intense gym where the owner hired all ex-cons because he thought they made great salesmen. I was the only non-ex-con there. And one of them was one of those guys who actually robbed the armored cars. And from that movie, The Town, he was an actual armored car robber. It was pretty intimidating place to work. And we used to fist fight with each other at work, like behind the front desk, in the gym. It was crazy. And then when we'd get in a fight, the owner would make us come up in his office and he'd make us fight again in his office because he wanted to see it. So we'd have to fight in the office. It was wild. And, what happened there is they were doing some illegal credit card things with credit cards. There was the Irish mob was involved in it, and they were taking basically numbers off the credit cards and reprogramming them onto other credit cards and taking them into the diamond exchange and running these credit cards through. They were basically stealing people's credit card information and running them through and getting diamonds and then turning that into cash. And it was the Irish mob. It was like Whitey Bulger and those guys. And I knew about it, and they wanted me to become involved in it. And I didn't want to be involved in that. That's a federal offense. That's like prison, I'm like, I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid. And so I said, no, thank you. And like, I came out to my car one day and there was a bullet on my car. So that was a kind of a clear message. And I took that as a sign, like it's time to go. And I had gone on a trip to Hawaii with some friends and I went, oh my God, there's so much more out there. I need to get the hell out of Boston. I was trying to get out of there for years and couldn't figure it out. And I just said, I'm leaving. I'm like, I'm taking some money and I'm going to go. And I drove cross country with a friend of mine. And it was an incredible time in my life where the future was all out in front of me. And I was 23 years old. And I knew I wanted to try acting. I had done some acting when I was a kid. And, I thought I wanted to try that. And I knew I could work in the gym business in Venice, California, right? The mecca of bodybuilding. I call it the mecca of narcissism. So I went to, because that's what Gold's Gym, I worked in Gold's Gym, Venice, which is the mecca of bodybuilding.
That is the mecca.
Yeah, I worked there for like a long time. I had a personal training business in there. And so I moved to California. I moved to Los Angeles and moved to Venice Beach and lived in Venice Beach and worked in Gold's Gym and a bunch of other gyms. And I started pursuing acting. I put myself through a method acting program, a Meisner method acting program. And in the process of that, I started to have some health issues. My hair started to fall out. So I was basically trying to tap into those feelings now, those emotions. I thought acting was pretending to be somebody else. That's not what it is at all. What it is you got to learn how to use your own personal emotions to in the scene or in the whatever, right? The play or whatever it is you're doing. So I was learning how to do that. And it was really hard for me. I was basically processing my trauma up on a stage, and that I had a lot of trauma. I got stabbed when I was 19 and almost died. I was left for dead. And I had, I'd been jumped a bunch of times. I had a lot of physical, mental, emotional trauma that I had locked away and never dealt with. A lot of close friends to me dying and horrible circumstances. And I just never dealt with any of that stuff. I didn't have any tools. And so to process it in a method acting program was not a good idea. And my hair started to fall out in patches. I developed this thing called alopecia areata, which is sudden hair loss. And they think it's brought on by trauma or stress. And I was stressed out. I had a lot going on and I was trying to do this thing. And so they put me on medication. They put me on prednisone, which is a catabolic steroid. It's what they put bodybuilders. Bodybuilders get on anabolic steroids, right? That makes them jacked up and builds muscle. Catabolic steroid breaks down the muscle tissue, makes you bloated and fat. So here I am. I'm this trainer at Gold's Gym, and I'm taking this medication that's making me bloated and fat. But I have all the bad side effects of the steroids, like the people I work with, but I'm not jacked. And then I'm getting cortisone shots in my eyebrows and my head to keep my hair. And it was just really bad. It was a bad scene. And I couldn't deal with what was happening to me. And I was drinking a lot and doing a lot of Vicodin, a lot of painkillers. Because when I'd go get the cortisone shots, I'd take a couple Vicodin before I go. And I just started eating the Vicodin all day, every day to deal with the pain, the emotional pain.
Yeah.
That was it. And I basically hit bottom. I hit rock bottom, as they say. I had hit some other bottoms that should have been much worse previously in my life, but I just didn't want to live like that anymore, And I tried to get sober on my own and I couldn't do it. And I got into recovery. I got into 12-step recovery and got help from other people. And that was my first time really asking for help in my life.
And that's such a, depending on where you're raised, even the art of asking for help can feel like the most brave step in your life, let alone actually having the knowledge of what am I asking help for, right? And what do I need to do once I get this information by asking for help? So there's a lot that comes with it, but even just like that first step of asking for help can sometimes be a barrier in itself, depending on how you grew up.
There's 100%. And especially there's a lie that's perpetuated around men, especially, right? You got to figure it out. Be a man. Don't show your emotions. Don't cry. There's a great documentary called The Mask We Live In, which is what we do to boys when they become a certain age and tell them to be tough and walk it off. And it's why? Why are we telling them not to have their emotions? And why are we telling them they have to figure it all out? And so, asking for help has turned out to be one of the most incredible tools I've ever developed, because now it's whatever it is I need now in my life, I have such a massive resource of people that I can go to. It's like, oh, if this happens, I can go to these 10 people over here. If I need help with this thing, if I need help with finance, if I need help with this, if I need help with that, I have this massive Rolodex of incredible humans who have been down this path, who can help me with that and tell me what to do and guide me. And it's just, I feel like, holy shit, like everybody should have this, but just knowing that I had to ask for help first, that's like the first step, right? It was such a huge change in me. It takes a tremendous amount of conflict, whether it's internal or external, for someone to go like, I need help.
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah. It feels like it can be the most vulnerable, like you are in the most vulnerable place.
Yeah, I've screwed up my life so bad that I don't know how to run it. I'm going to ask a complete stranger to show me how to run my life.
Yeah, help me, please. Okay, so obviously that's advice for anybody that's listening. Just knowledge that asking for help can really, that could open doors for you, and just wanted to normalize that sometimes the act of asking for help can be the hardest part to somebody's process. So for your own journey, you kind of alluded to it, right? Like you started to kind of lean into the 12-step AA community. I'm just picturing like Venice Beach, like it's the mecca of, at least from my opinion, there's a very, very robust recovery community down there. So where did that take you then? I mean, like we're moving this along. Where did the journey take you from there once you got sober?
Yeah, I started helping people. I started mentoring. I did Big Brothers. That was incredible. I started mentoring other people and helping people get sober. And I was personal training. And then I ended up, touring with some rock bands and helping some guys on the road, right? So it was like, I'm the personal trainer and I'm their sober coach, their sober companion, right? And so it was like double duty. And that was really cool. I got to see the world and I got to see the rock star lifestyle and see that it's not all it's cracked up to be. Like being on the tour bus is not fun. It totally cured my rock star fantasies. And I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it, in my 20s. Like it was great. It was a great experience. But like being sober and, is not on the road and not single is not fun. Like it's like, ugh. And especially if you're not the rock star getting up to play on stage, right? And so I got to tour all around the world with some bands, and that was cool. And then I started helping actors, and I got to be on movie sets and TV sets and help those people. And I really feel like it was the universe showing me, like, Jon Paul, look, fame and money is not going to fix you. Like I thought fame and money was the thing. I thought it would fix me. I thought it would solve everything. And I was wrong, because I got to work with all those people. I got to work with a lot of hugely successful people. I've shared this. It's probably on my website. I've worked with 4 Oscar winners, 3 Grammy winners, 3 Olympic medalists, and some billionaires. So I've worked with some of the most successful people on the planet. And I know now that money isn't going to fix me. Like everybody knows money won't fix it, but they got to find out for themselves, right? And so I know that money's not going to fix it, and fame is definitely not going to fix it. And for me, what I discovered is purpose and fulfillment. Finding something that gives me purpose, finding something that gives me fulfillment. Fulfillment fills me up, right? To fill yourself up, because everybody thinks that happiness is the thing, chasing happiness. Oh, I'm not happy. There's something wrong. Let me take a pill. Let me go see a whatever. I'm not happy. It's like, well, yeah, but you're not supposed to be happy all the time. Is it that you're never happy? That's a problem. But like people think if they're not happy all the time, something's wrong. Purpose and fulfillment, I found, is the key for me, at least, because I'm not going to be happy all the time. And the times that I'm not happy, if I have purpose, if I have fulfillment, if I have something that makes me feel good about myself, then that will sustain me through those times that I'm not happy. And so I found that for me, fulfillment comes with helping other people, working with other people in different ways, in different capacities.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm just thinking, I'm like nodding my head aggressively, but I'm like totally following you, because all I keep thinking about is, I work with a lot of young adults who like constantly say like, I need to find these moments of joy, but that's what they're focused on, finding the moments. But it's like, well, the moments will come if you're actually doing something that is fulfilling to you. So I just wanted to kind of talk through why I was just nodding my head like I might be having an issue over here.
Yeah, the moments of joy. In my class, in my breathwork class, I do these thing where you pull moments into your heart. And, when I first started doing it, it was all moments from my past. And now when I do it, it's like current moments in my life. And can I just be present and realize that I'm in one of those moments? Most people can't. It's a really hard thing to do, to like be present in the moment and realize like, this is actually a beautiful moment. Like, we think we're just hanging up a Christmas tree. We're just putting up a Christmas tree. But like, that's a really special moment. My kids are never going to be 8 and 11 putting up the Christmas tree with me again. This moment, this day will never come again. Can I just take it in and allow my heart to be open and be present for it? Oh, wait, my cell phone just went off. Let me look at my cell phone and miss this fucking moment because a fucking machine is vibrating in my pocket. And I got to take it out. Or I have to take it out to film this moment, because every moment has to be filmed now, instead of just allowing it to come into my heart and storing it in my heart as one of these moments. And so I think we're lost. I think most people are lost, myself included. I'm not immune to it. I just, I went and did this thing recently where they took my cell phone away for a week, and it was incredible. And that was one of the many things I took away from it. Like, oh, dude, you didn't even know you were addicted to your phone. You had no idea. You thought you were like not that addicted to your phone.
Okay, I'm going to ask a loaded question, and this is off script. I think you just kind of alluded to some of the stuff that you do, but I want to make sure we're actually able to specifically name it.
Sure.
But if someone were to ask you right now, Jon Paul, like, what is your purpose? How would you answer that?
I would say right now, your purpose can change at any time, but right now my purpose is to help as many people transform and change their lives with the incredible power of breathwork.
Okay, so perfect segue. What specifically do you do? How do people connect with you?
I teach circular breathwork. It's also called conscious connected breathing, right? So breathwork is an umbrella term, and people get confused by it because it's like saying fitness. You're like, oh, I teach fitness? Like, what do you do? So I teach circular breathwork, which is an intense modality where you lay down on your back, fully flat, and you breathe in this intense way. And it's not a relaxing meditation. It's like a workout. And what happens to some people, it's different for everybody, and it's different every time you do it. But what happens to a lot of people is that it can kind of turn off parts of your brain where the ego is, where the critic lives, that tells you you're not enough, right? I'm not thin enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not hairy enough, right? In some way, I'm not enough. It turns off those parts, and it tunes you into your heart. And it can clear out all this stuck stuff, all this trauma, all the anxiety, all the stress, all that. It can clear all this shit, all these negative emotions out of our body, out of our nervous system. And so the most common statement is, holy shit, that felt like 20 years of therapy without having to say a word. That's the most common statement, or, from people who do my classes. I do classes on Zoom on Sundays, and there's a replay for that. And then I occasionally do them in person in different locations. I teach people how to teach this modality. So I do breathwork teacher trainings in person. And then I also have those trainings recorded online, so you can get certified through me online or in person. And I do that all over the world. I just got back from Switzerland doing a training, and I'm doing a training in Utah in January, which is almost sold out. And then I'll probably be doing one in May or April or May next. And so we're trying to find a hotel for that right now. And then I always tell people, like, just come try the class on Zoom online and see if it works for you, if it's there for you, if you're ready for it. Because some people aren't ready for it. I was ready for it. I found out I did it when I was an actor in my 20s, and I wasn't ready for it. I didn't know. But I did it about 13 years ago, and it changed my life in the first class. And then I thought, wow, why doesn't everybody know about this? And it's because it was kept in these small new agey woo-woo circles. And I thought, if somebody from the fucking East Coast did this, Boston style, Tony Robbins style, they would have hundreds of people in the room, right? Like if they were like, listen, I know this is fucking weird, but do this breathing thing with me and tell me that I'm wrong, that it doesn't fucking work, right? And so I did that, and it worked. I was right. Like I started having these sold out classes in Los Angeles where I used to live. And of course they were filled up with celebrities, and it was like a whole scene of celebrities in the front row, and it was a whole thing. And it was great for a while. And I decided to move to Bend, Oregon. I was like, all right, finally successful in Los Angeles. Let me leave now. And so I go back there every once in a while and do a class in Santa Monica. And I do some classes here in Bend, Oregon, where I live. But I really love the classes online because I can connect with people all over the world. And they can experience it and then decide if they want to go further down that rabbit hole. I have other courses online that I do. I have a course called the 5-Day Emotional Detox, which is really powerful. It's a combination of some writing exercises combined with the breath work. So I recommend that to people if they want to go deeper into the work. But I always say, like, my class is $29 on Zoom, and there's a $10 discount on my website. The website's breathewithjp.com. For $19, you come and try it. And I would give it for free, but then people wouldn't do it because people don't pay when they don't pay attention.
Right? That's so
I'm sorry,
true.
I said that backwards. People don't pay attention when they don't pay. If I don't pay, I don't pay attention is what it is, right? And breath work is uncomfortable for the first 10 minutes. And so I've seen people who get it for free and then they quit because it's uncomfortable. So you need to have some skin in the game.
100%. I completely agree. And we will make sure we have all the links in the show notes. Everybody needs to try it. Like, seriously, if you have never tried breath work, or let's say this, if you've never paid for breath work, and or never connected with Jon Paul and had him facilitate, or been with a facilitator trained by Jon Paul, like, you need to try it out, because I think what you're talking about too is it's not just about the thing, it's about how the thing is actually facilitated and how people receive it. So
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've had hundreds and hundreds of people come up to me and be like, I've tried breathwork before, but I never had the experience I had until I did your class. And I think that's because I'm intense. I push the energy, right? Like a trainer. The old trainer in me comes out in the East Coast. I'm like, come on, you've done harder shit in your life than lay on the floor and breathe. Let's go. Let's work. You're here to do the work, right? The life that you are looking for is in the work that you are avoiding. So I yell shit like that out in the class to push people, to motivate people to have a big experience so that some kind of awakening can happen.
I love it. I have to try it, clearly. So I'm just speaking to the audience. I'm putting myself out there. I'm going to sign up at minimum for one Sunday session.
Yes.
I'm challenging myself, right? Here's my accountability out into the public. So please reach out to me and ask me, did I actually do it?
Yeah.
Hold me accountable. And Jon Paul, you'll see me. That is my accountability. Okay. Right. So last question, because we're running out of time and it feels like we're just driving people to connect with you, but we kind of have alluded to this earlier today as well. Now that we've heard your journey leading to where you are now, and you've talked about kind of your calling or this sense of purpose, do you see yourself as successful?
Such a great question. I'm going to get choked up a little bit here because for a long time, I was working with these hugely successful people, right? Like Matthew Perry was a really close friend of mine, and I traveled all over the place with Matthew Perry, and we'd sometimes on private planes in first class and stay in incredible hotels. And I've worked with Justin Bieber. I've worked with a lot of hugely successful people. So when I would compare myself to those people, I was not successful, even though I was helping them, right? But my friend really helped me reframe it. And when he did that, it was life-changing for me. He goes, Jon Paul, yeah, those people are famous and rich, but they're not successful. Success is helping other people change their lives. He goes, you're one of the most successful people I've ever met. You've helped more people change their lives than anyone else I know. And I was like, holy shit, like that reframe for me of what if I define my success by how many people I've helped? What if I define my success by how many people's lives I've changed with this incredible breath work? Then I'm massively successful. What if I just define my success by what a good dad I am today? How about if I did that? So, because I get to decide what success is. I get to decide what success means. I don't know. I was brainwashed into thinking it meant lots of money and fame, but that's not what it is for me. So I'm hugely successful. I'm hugely blessed.
Thank you again for being you, for being honest. I know that there are people that are listening to this podcast episode that will be extremely curious about breathwork specifically, but more importantly, hearing your journey and also hearing you define that, or really the reframe of success, hopefully really starts to create a shift within the listenership of my podcast, of like moving away from these material things or these labels that we are so hyper focused on, especially in the world of social media and tech addiction, like you kind of talked about earlier today. Yeah. I hope that we can start to reframe what success looks like individually for more people. So thanks again for carving out time to share a little bit of your story and also just let us in on who you are so people can connect with you and do breathwork with you.
Thanks for having me. I can't wait to see you in my class, and I can't wait to see some of your listeners telling me in the chat, I found you from the fall show, whatever. I can't wait to hear it. So I know together we're going to introduce this to some people, and that's going to create some massive shifts. It's the ripple effect.
Yeah.
I love it. I call it the pyramid scheme for good. But there's you don't have to keep paying the people who pay the people who pay the people. There's no scheme
to it. It is a pyramid. We are building a self-care pyramid. Yes.
Yeah. And I tell people, like, listen, you can come to my class one time and then go do it on your own. Like, you don't need to come to my class all the time. You might want to because you enjoy that community and you enjoy me pushing you, but you can learn how to do the breath work from me in one session and then go make your own playlists and just do it yourself, which is what I did. In the beginning, because I didn't like the breathwork classes that were out there. And then I decided to create my own because I didn't like the breathwork classes that were out there. So I may not be the right person for you. I may not be the right fit. That's okay. But come try it and see what's there for you.
Love it. Okay. All the links are in the show notes. Definitely reach out, sign up for some classes. And thank you again, Jon Paul, for being a guest.
Thanks for having me.
That's it for this week's Success is Subjective episode. We want to thank our guest for joining Joanna on the show this week and for being willing to share your journey. This podcast would not exist if it weren't for people such as yourself. Stay tuned for our next episode, where you can bet it'll be another amazing human sharing their personal story with the world. Make sure you check out the show notes, where you will find contact information, website details, and all social media for our guest. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, you can email Joanna at lilyconsulting.com. Be sure to check out the lilyconsulting.com website for additional resources outside of podcasting. Now, if you're listening to the show on Apple Podcasts, please subscribe. And while you're at it, feel free to leave a review. You can also download to listen to the Success is Subjective podcast on other popular podcast apps, such as Audible, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. Thanks again for listening in, and remember, there is no single path through life. Success is what you make it.